regular notice requirement of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act has been complied with in that adequate advance notice of this meeting was given at least 48 hours in advance. On August 18th, 2022, notice was mailed to the Carrier Post and posted on the district website. Request roll call, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Roll call to establish quorum. Ms. Alvarez? Mr. Custis? Ms. Gillespie? Mr. Gonzalez? Mr. Hudson will be here later this evening. Board Member Leyva Martinez? Ms. Merrick's? Vice President Nelson?
Present.
President Muhammad?
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, there is a need for the board to go into executive session. I'd ask the board members to respectfully enter a motion to enter into executive session at 5:32 p.m. Is there a motion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, the board will now convene into executive session for approximately 45 minutes prior to returning to executive action and further action on the meeting. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the board returns to open public session, I'll open the floor for the board to make a motion to return to public session. We have a motion and a second to return to open public session at 6:27. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, we are now in open public session. At this time, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the June meeting.
Motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to approve the minutes of the June meeting is here approved. Also, may the record show that Board Member Hudson and Board Member Merrick's did join the board meeting during executive session this evening. I'll be opening the floor for committee reports, starting with the Finance and Operations Committee. Reporting out is Board Member Alvarez, please.
Thank you, Ray. Good afternoon, everyone. The Finance and Operations meeting, the individuals that were in attendance was School Business Administrator Ray Cox, VP Nandi Nelson, Board Member Leyva Martinez. We discussed the 11-month walkthrough with the SDA and various contractors for the Camden High School to develop a plan to resolve concerns regarding several items. We discussed the much-needed upgrades that will be taking place at Eastside High School, some of which are already noticeable, including the removal of the grates in front of the school building. And to conclude, we discussed the hiring of school bus drivers. 12 bus drivers have been hired and 4 trainees. We welcome and encourage all of those who are interested in applying to visit our website at camdencityschools.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Alvarez. At this time, we're going to turn it over to Board Member Hudson to report out from the Policy and Governance Committee.
Thank you, Ray. Good morning. Good morning. Good evening, everyone. Reporting from the Policy Committee. We have several policies that we're recommending to the board, so it might take a while. So just bear with me and turn on your listening ears. It's only happening once. The Policy Committee is recommending the following policy revisions at first reading. First is Board Policy 6147.1, Evaluation of Individual Student Performance. The committee is recommending the revision of Policy 6147.1 regarding the evaluation of individual student performance Specifically, the committee is proposing to clarify the eligibility to be named as a school valedictorian, salutatorian, or a member of the school's honor court as follows. Under the section entitled Determining Class Rank, the committee is proposing to add the following language. In order to be eligible to be named as a school's valedictorian, salutatorian, or a member of the school's honor court, the following requirements must be met. The student shall be enrolled in the school prior to the first day of their senior year and be continuously enrolled at the school for the remainder of the year, and the student shall complete all graduation requirements, including both credits and assessments during this regular school year prior to the graduation date of their senior year. Next is Board Policy 1130, use of school facilities. The committee is recommending the revision of Policy and Regulation 1330 regarding the use of school facilities. Specifically, the committee is proposing to restructure the current organizational groupings and fee structure when granting permission to outside groups to use district facilities as follows. School-related groups, which includes uses and groups directly related to the school and operations of the school, including teacher organizations, parent organizations, alumni groups, and other organizations directly related to the school. There will generally be no charge for educational programs or regularly scheduled meetings for uses consistent with this group. Next is school-age service and athletic groups. Includes uses and groups involving youth organizations when the participants consist of at least a majority of Camden City residents, including Little Leagues, sports associations, and other similar youth organizations. There will generally be no charge for educational programs or regularly scheduled meetings for the uses consistent with this group. Next is community-related groups and school-age service groups without a majority of Camden residents participating. This includes uses and groups involving all other nonprofit community organizations, political, charitable, and religious and similar organizations, in addition to school-age groups that do not consist of at least a majority of Camden City residents. As a general policy, these groups will be charged actual costs associated with hourly, custodial, and security charges in accordance with Regulation 1330. Finally is commercial organizations, includes all local for-profit groups that may be approved based on the purpose and value of the school community. And as a general policy, these groups will be charged a use fee along with actual costs associated with the hourly, custodial, and security charges in accordance with Regulation 1330. The next board policy is 6145.1/6145.2, intramural competition, interscholastic competition. The committee is recommending the revision of policy 6145.1 and 2 regarding intramural interscholastic competition. Specifically, the committee is proposing to clarify the eligibility of students to participate in athletics at one of the two comprehensive high schools as follows. The committee is proposing to add a new section called enrollment eligibility with the following language. Any student enrolled in one of the district's two comprehensive high schools is eligible to participate in the interscholastic athletic program of the school in which they are enrolled. When a student is enrolled in one of the district's magnet schools, Bryn Medical Arts High School, Creative Arts High School, or Big Picture Learning Academy, and that school does not offer the particular sport in which the student wishes to participate, the student may choose one of the district's comprehensive high schools at which he or she wishes to participate in all sports on a full school year basis. If the student wishes to change the school where he or she participates in sports during his or her 8 semesters of athletic eligibility, the student will be subject to transfer restrictions set forth by the NJSIAA Article 5, Section 4.K, 1 and 2. Under the section entitled Charter School Students, the committee is proposing to amend language to include Renaissance school students in addition to the following language. A district resident enrolled as a full-time student in grades 9 through 12 at a charter school, a Renaissance school, who wishes to participate in a particular sport that is not offered by the charter or Renaissance school may choose to participate in the sport at one of the district's comprehensive high schools if offered by the district upon agreement of both principals. If the student wishes to change the school where he or she participates in sports during his or her 8 semesters of athletic eligibility, the student will be subject to the transfer restrictions set forth by the NJSIAA Article 5, Section 4.K, 1 and 2. The number of sports programs offered at the charter Renaissance school shall not factor into the agreement to allow the student to participate. This committee is proposing to add a new section entitled Non-Public School Students and Homeschool Students with the following language. A district resident student enrolled as a full-time student in grades 9 through 12 at a non-public school who wishes to participate in a particular sport at one of the district's comprehensive high schools may be permitted in a non-public school if the non-public school does not sponsor the high school interscholastic sports team in the sport in which the student wishes to participate. If the student wishes to change the school where he or she participates in sports during his or her 8 semesters of athletic eligibility, the student will be subject to transfer restrictions set forth by the NJSIAA Article 5, Section 4.K, 1 and 2. Non-public school students shall be subject to the eligibility requirements and rules for participation for the Sport and District Code of Student Conduct. Also, any students that are homeschooled may participate in a particular sport at one of the district's comprehensive high schools, subject to the following conditions set forth in the NJSIAA homeschool guidelines, which are incorporated into the policy. You all right? Board Policy 5131, Conduct and Discipline. The committee is recommending the revision of Policy 5131 regarding the student conduct and discipline. Specifically, the committee is proposing to add language to the policy regarding hazing in compliance with state law NJSA 18A 37-32.2. The committee is proposing to add sections after weapons offenses entitled hazing definitions with the following new sections. Definitions relating to hazing, policy against hazing, reporting hazing, and discipline for violating the hazing policy. Next is Board Policy 6140, Curriculum Adoption. The committee is recommending the revision of Policy 6140 regarding curriculum adoption. Specifically, the committee is proposing to add language to the policy regarding the inclusion of certain topics in the district's curriculum in compliance with state law. The committee is proposing to add a new section K as follows. Provide instruction on political, economics, and social contributions of persons with disabilities and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in an appropriate place in the curriculum of middle school and high school students. The committee is proposing to add a new section L as follows. Incorporate instruction on diversity and inclusion in an appropriate place in the curriculum of students in grades kindergarten through 12. This instruction shall highlight and promote diversity, including economic diversity, equity, inclusion, tolerance, and belonging in the connection with gender and sexual orientation, race and ethnicity, disabilities, and religious tolerance. 2, examine the impact of unconscious bias and the economic disparities have at both the individual level and on society as a whole. And 3, encourage safe, welcoming, and inclusive environments for all students, regardless of race, ethnicity, sexual and gender identities, mental and physical disabilities, and religious beliefs. Next is Board Policy 5141.11, staff vaccination and screen testing. The committee is recommending the repeal of Policy 5141.11 regarding staff vaccination and testing. Specifically, the committee is recommending to repeal the policy as Executive Order 302 no longer requires school districts to conduct testing on unvaccinated workers. Finally, is Board Policy 5141.10, face coverings and general COVID-19 mitigation strategies. The committee is recommending the revision of 5141.10 regarding face coverings. Specifically, the committee is recommending the revision to the policy to make wearing a face mask by students, staff, and visitors optional unless circumstances change that dictate the district reevaluate its masking policy. That'll be all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thank you, Board Member Hudson. Given the extent of Board Member Hudson's report, I'd like to open the floor for any questions from board members before moving to Board Member Gonzalez and his report.
No, but I do want to say, as we commend these august and prestigious board members for the diligent work that they do and volunteering the time and space for these different committees. I just want to say to the community that this is one of the reasons a lot of these policies were changed based on movement in the community and people reaching out to us and we responded. And this is how we in the community, as board members, make effective change in our community, because when you come to board members and to meetings and make concerns, this is the activity that we get involved in, and we help to make those changes. And I know it was kind of robust and kind of long, but I'm sure they're going to on the district website that parents can really take a look at those things. And I just want to outline that and thank you all for your diligent work, even with the curriculum changes that had to come over to our policy committee so that we can make the policy based on the work and the diligent work led by Sister Naima Gillespie here to do things. This is how we work cohesively together as a board to make substantive change in our community. I just want to say that, point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President. Anyone else? Seeing no one, we'll turn the meeting to the Teaching and Learning Committee, reporting out as Board Member Gonzalez.
Good evening, everyone. The Teaching and Learning Committee, my sister Nye, myself, Dr. Martinez, Chrissy, some of the things that we reviewed were the ensuring that the submission of all data and educators' evaluation documentation is submitted in a timely manner through the NJ Smart system, submitting all documentations of the HIB, and making sure that it's submitted every month, and is starting off after the September board meeting, and as required, sharing a summarized report twice a year, which will be January and June. And lastly, making sure that all safety and bus drills are done and submitted to the state and shared on the board agenda, which they have been done. And that's my report.
Board Member Gonzalez. At this time, I'll turn the meeting over to Superintendent McCombs to present her superintendent's report for the month of August 2022.
Thank you, Board Secretary. At this time, we can all transition down to the floor for the superintendent's report. Good evening, everyone. As you can see on the screen, we are excited. We are getting ready to begin the 22-23 school year in just 16 or 15, I think, short days. And so it is my privilege and honor to provide you with information, most of which we will share how we are ready for our first day of school, but also to provide more information on the progress of the district. So next slide. Tonight we're going to focus on some key topics, and you see those topics presented before you. and feature also some amazing district highlights. We will start with our preparation for back to school. So we have been working diligently, and not only in August, but as soon as the school year ended, we actually began galvanizing and ramping up for the start of the next school year. And so this is the time of the school year, the time of the year where we have all started to see and enjoy that commercial that has happy parents shopping for school supplies singing, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." That's right, it is back to school season. Whether you are sending your child to school for the first time, or you have a student who is entering high school, being prepared and preparing your scholar is important for you to both experience a great start to the school year. And being prepared is more than a new backpack. It's more than creating a schedule, and it is more than a separate place for learning in the home, buying uniforms and school supplies, and yes, those things are very important, but tonight I want to share a few other tips that will ensure you are prepared to support your child's success. Register or sign into the district's parent portal. That's the first item that's at the top of the list. This portal gives you a close look into how your child is doing. Checking it once a week will help you stay on top of your child's attendance, their schedules, and their grades and other important records. So, you know, we are in the digital age now, and it is very easy. You can access it from your phone or any device, but all you have to do is go to our district website. On the front page at the bottom, there's a section, an icon for families, and you can tap in to find out all of that information and have it at the tip of your fingers so that you're able, as parents and as guardians and those who are taking care of our young people, to know exactly how our students are doing, how your children are doing in real time. We are your partner in education, but that's not all. Viewing the portal will help you have important conversations with your child and your child's teacher. It is a tool that you can use in meaningful ways to understand and support your child's learning and behavior. In addition, the district is preparing to go paperless and will be directing you to the portal to access your child's grades throughout the year. You can find a guide for navigating the parent portal on the district's website and sign up with your school's family operations coordinator if you have any problems at all accessing the website. And I know this will be, this board meeting will be shared out more broadly with others through our YouTube. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your child's family operations coordinator or your principal or your child's guidance counselor. Someone will be able to direct you so that you have support in accessing this portal. Second, review the district and school calendars for the year and save the dates. The calendars are already on our website, so you can begin now looking at those dates so that you're able to plan for success for the entire school year. By reviewing and blocking off your calendar in advance, you can ensure that you don't miss important dates like back to school night, academic parent-teacher teams, and student-led conferences where you get to meet your child's principal and teachers, hear about expectations, what your children are learning, and their progress. Third area, introduce yourself and establish a positive relationship with your child's teacher. It goes without saying that relationships matter, and that your child's teacher plays a pivotal role in your child's growth and learning development. So it is important to develop a relationship with your child's teacher early on in the school year. Let the teacher know that you want to establish open and regular two-way communication to support your child's learning, to support their social emotional well-being and their overall growth. Share information about your child that will be helpful for the teacher. No one knows your child's strengths, areas of growth, interests, and hopes and dreams quite like you. And last, ask questions. Ask questions about classroom expectations, and offer to support the teacher by reinforcing expectations at home. Ask key questions like, what is the best way and time of day for me to reach you? What can I do at home to reinforce what you are teaching in the classroom? What can I do as a parent to help you as a teacher? And what is the best way and time for me to reach you? What can I do at home to reinforce what you are teaching in the classroom? Again, and then partnering with your teacher helps set your child up for success. Fourth area, ask how you can be involved and engaged. And I talked about a few questions that you can ask there. 5, learn how you can stay connected. Familiarize yourselves with the district and the school website. Sign up to receive alerts about events happening in the district, early dismissals, weather closures, and more. And don't forget to follow the district and your child's school on Facebook. Stay connected and stay in the know. 6, have a self-care and wellness plan. I think that goes without saying, especially as we are still coming through the pandemic. We know that it is very important for all of us to develop a good self-care plan, and also to train our young people and our children to take care of themselves physically, emotionally, and mentally. So please, start off your day with a positive affirmation. Prioritize time for yourself. Read a book, take a walk. Prioritize mental health so that you can be calm, patient, and engaged and positive with your children, who will most likely be a little off kilter for the first few weeks of school. Again, we just want to make sure as a school community surrounding our young people, all of us, that we are in a good mental space to be able to support and encourage and nurture our young people. And we will continue throughout the year to provide more tips, but again, this is a partnership, and as we work together as parents, as the school district, teachers, everyone working together on behalf of our young people, they have no other choice but to rise. Next slide. Back to school laptop distribution. Camden City School District will host a Chromebook distribution event for all students that are currently enrolled in any of our district schools. This event will take place starting this coming Monday, August 29th, and it will occur daily until September 2nd from 10 o'clock a.m. until 2 o'clock p.m. Students, along with their guardian, can come to any of the 4 locations that are listed to pick up their device: Camden High Campus, Caddo, Coopers Point, or H.B. Wilson. As a reminder, a guardian must be present and also present an ID. We encourage everyone to come out next week to get your laptop device as another way to be fully ready and prepared for the first day of school. We will have vendors, we will have uniform vouchers, food, and drinks available. And also, if anyone is interested in still signing up to be a part of the Camden City School District, enrolling in our great schools, you will also have the opportunity to get more information about schools there and find out how to register. So again, please come out so you can be ready, prepared. Everyone has your laptops and devices before the first day of school, so that when our young people come in on the first day, we can hit the ground running and begin our instruction. Next slide. Okay, so there are 2 ways. So it is very important. I talked about relationship. And we know that there are times when you have to reach out because there are questions as parents that you might have, or there may be some challenging situations that occur with regard to your child's educational experience. So we want to make sure that we remind everyone of our Solution Center, which is staffed with great employees who are dedicated to the district. Some of them are parents of children right here in our own school district, so they are approachable. They can answer any questions or direct you in the way that you need to have direction. So again, the Solution Center information is here. It's also on our district website. Feel free to reach out by calling 856-966-2507. If you have any questions, you also see our Senior Director, Ms. Sheree Perry. You see her information there. She will help to make sure that if she can't address your question, that she directs you to the resources, the departments, or the individuals who can. And also our Welcome Center. This year we were able to finally launch the Vets Welcome Center. And that is, of course, it's at the Veterans Memorial School, but it's a welcome center that provides our immigrant families or newcomer families to the country, as well as to the city, with information on school registration, testing and placement, family and community resources. There are monthly food pantries that are held there, workshops for families, yoga classes, fitness classes, and so much more. So please, if you want to get information about resources that would support you as you're transitioning into this country, as well as into this city, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact Ms. Nilsa Cruz, who is the Family Operations Coordinator at VETS, or also Ms. Mary Suarez Colon, ESL teacher at VETS, 856-966-2434, or you can go to the Welcome Center at camden.k12.nj.us. Again, we just want you to know that we're here, we want to hear from you, and together we can work out any challenge. Next slide. So as we prepare again for the upcoming school year, our focus continues to be on ensuring that we are addressing the health and safety of our students and staff. So this means working to ensure regular school days for all students, supporting students with social, emotional health, and putting a laser-like focus on instruction. This is our job as a district, which means it is our responsibility to be flexible and ready to pivot as quickly as possible if and when we must. So we know that this past school year, flexibility and pivoting quickly were essential to operating as a district because we never knew what the COVID-19 pandemic would bring us. In this coming year, flexibility and pivoting quickly continues to be an essential principle for us. So as I share some of the new practices for the upcoming school year, it's important to note that if and when needed, as a district, we will be flexible and pivot as necessary. Readiness is the key. Next slide. So effective September 1, masking is optional in the Camden City School District. After careful consideration and in alignment with CDC and local health department guidelines, as well as the governor's executive order, the Camden City School District will now be mask optional. We ask that each person, staff, student, visitors alike, respect one another regarding the individual decision made to mask or not to mask. As a district, however, regardless of masking decisions, we encourage everyone to continue the following health practices, which will help in minimizing the spread of the COVID-19 virus and overall just help us to stay very safe and healthy so there's no disruption to learning. 1, continue proper hygiene, washing hands frequently, covering your coughs and sneezes with your arm like this in your in this part of your arm, not your hands, and so on. Continue to maintain social distancing as much as physically possible. If you notice that you are experiencing symptoms of illness, stay home. Contact your physician as needed. And finally, as a school district, we continue to encourage everyone to get vaccinated. So again, we just wanted to make sure everyone is clear as we're ramping up to the school year, new school year, with regard to our masking policy. Next slide. As part of our revised policies and practices for the new school year, I want to just underscore a few key areas. 1, staff and visitor health screenings are no longer required when entering our district buildings. However, as I shared earlier, if you are feeling sick for any reason, it is important to stay home or seek the help of your physician. Per Executive Order 302, unvaccinated staff members do not have to be tested weekly anymore. We will adhere to this order. Students were never required to test per an executive order. However, as a school district, you remember we did offer this service to families as a best practice to fight against the spread of COVID-19. And following with Executive Order 302, students will not be tested weekly at our district schools. Instead, the district will continue to partner with our local health agencies to provide this service to both families and staff. More details on this partnership will be provided and shared in the coming weeks. Next slide. Monkeypox. We know that many in the community have been asking about the district's response to the monkeypox outbreak nationwide. At this time, the district does not have a specific plan for monkeypox, but our commitment is to be ready to respond at a moment's notice following any CDC and local health agency guidelines. We will continue to work with Dr. Pashal Nawako, who is the county health director, county health officer, as he shares information with superintendents across Camden County to provide us with guidance on how we should respond, what proactive measures we should take with regard to monkeypox. So as we receive more information, we will share that out so that we can again make sure we're doing everything possible to keep our staff members and our students and our families and community safe and healthy. Next slide. As indicated on this slide, although progress has been made in many areas or many indicators with regard to our CUSAC, there remains work to be done in order to position the district for the acquisition of sustainable local control. Currently, the district's CUSAC scores are listed. You see them above each of the areas. In the area of fiscal, we are at 73. In the area of operations, the district, based on its last CUSAC assessment, which was recently in June, we are at 62, and that is up 15 points from where we were at the beginning of state intervention. Instruction and programming, we are currently at 62%. Which is up 53 points from 9%, which is where we were in 2011-12 at the beginning of state intervention. In the area of governance, we are currently at 77, which is up 44 points compared to 33, which is where we were at the beginning of state intervention. And finally, in the area of personnel, the district has achieved an 81, which is up 62 points compared to 19, which is where we were at the beginning of state intervention. As you can see, even though there has been progress made, we have to still stay focused because we must ensure that we are achieving a minimum of 80% in each of the indicators that are listed in front of you, so that we are able to transition into sustainable local control. And so again, we thank our board members, we thank our community, our staff, our district team, all of the staff members across the district for the work that has gone into getting us to this point, but we know that we cannot rest on our laurels and we must continue to forge ahead. We will continue to provide more information with regard to the district and its progress toward our CUSAC goals. The district has prepared a district improvement plan that will be submitted before the deadline of September 13th, I believe, September 13th, which will be submitted to the county office. And those are the improvement plans that will guide us through as we're continuing to move forward in the area of CUSAC. We will continue to keep the board updated and abreast of all of our progress in those areas and those areas that we still have to grow in. Next slide. Updates. So now we'll move right into our monthly updates for this month. We'll focus on the areas that are right in front of you. And then I'll share some updates on staffing, school nutrition, transportation, and facilities to close us out. Next slide. When we look at our teaching and learning curriculum updates, I'd like to share with you that all K through 12 health, physical education, art, and music curricular frameworks are aligned to the new New Jersey Student Learning Standards. All of our Camden City School District frameworks include content practices and interdisciplinary connections, which will develop good student habits. Important, all frameworks have incorporated, when appropriate, Amistad, Holocaust, and LGBTQIA+ mandates, and all other New Jersey legislative statutes. As you take a look at this slide, you will see health and PE. The health curriculum includes 10 performance expectations. This requires more time devoted to teaching health during the school year. So what's new for the 22-23 school year? These are the new areas. All students in grades 1 through 8 will receive 150 minutes of health and physical education instruction for the entire year. Also, all classes, grades 1 through 8, will have 1 period of health and 2 periods of physical education all year, every week. That's 36 weeks of health versus 9 weeks. What else is new? All schools with grades 1 through 8 will incorporate 5 minutes of Get Fit mindfulness into the instructional day. This does not include recess. Also included in the new health curriculum are family life topics. These topics are discussed at the end of each grade band, grades 2, 5, and 8. A health opt-out form for grades K through 12 with a list of family health topics will be on the Camden City School District website for parents to review. Also new, physical education has 3 performance expectations, which it is equally important to make sure our students are fit and practice lifelong wellness behaviors. In the area of music and art, the New Jersey Student Learning Standards for visual and performing arts are aligned to the national standards. One big adjustment for educators is addressing the new levels of proficiency for visual and performing arts for each grade band. All teachers will receive professional development the first week of school and throughout the school year. I would like to recognize the work that the curriculum team has done over the past year. Our curricula have been revised and updated to reflect the new student learning standards. This is hard work done after the school day is over. And so we want to again say thank you to all of the curriculum writers, the designers, for your hard work. And some of our teachers who are here who worked on the curriculum as well. Thank you, Ms. Borelli-Lugan, and just making sure we're working together to build up and strengthen our curricular areas. I'm certain that our students will reap the benefits of these curricular revisions, and we'll keep you posted on what that looks like when it comes to our students' outcomes and achievements, because that's what's most important. Next slide. And so as we think about curriculum and instruction and making sure that we have greater outcomes and learning acceleration, closing opportunity gaps, closing achievement gaps, the district's professional development plan is a critical piece of that. So our district's professional development plan for 22-23 will kick off with all staff PD sessions in September to review new standards, curriculum updates, review district resources, and new initiatives. As the year progresses, sessions will be focused on differentiated instruction and learning strategies to support our learners' individual needs. Professional learning communities will meet with district staff to gain a better understanding of what differentiated instruction is, strategies to support these practices in our classrooms, and how to best use district resources to meet our students' needs. Next slide. So one of the lessons learned nationally from the pandemic is there have been learning and engagement gaps that have been created. In the Camden City School District, it is imperative that we revamp and fine-tune our alternative education strategies and offerings in response to what our young people went through during the pandemic. Some of them engaged right away when we came back, but some of our young people are still having a hard time fully engaging coming back from the learning modality of all virtual instruction that occurred during the pandemic. Currently, our district offers 3 programs, but they operate in isolation. So that is our Pride Academy, which has been a standalone school, our SOAR Academy, which is our accelerated learning program, and Gateway to College, with which we partner with Camden County College to provide to our students to help them across the finish line for graduation. And again, all of these programs currently operate in isolation. As you see, if you look to the right, MTSS, that stands at this slide, the team that has been working diligently under the leadership of Dr. Martinez and Mr. Herb Simons and Dr. Berkeley have presented and shared and recommended this approach that we will be moving forward with, our comprehensive alternative education programs. And so if you take a look at the left, you'll see the triangle with tiers labeled red, yellow, and green for the various tiers. Tier 1 represents students who are learning at roughly grade level or above. And that's the green portion. That means green, they're on go, they're on grade level. Classroom instruction is based on research-based strategies. When we look at our Tier 2, that's the students in the yellow area. They lag 1 or more years behind their peers and require intensive individualized intervention. And then Tier 3 students lag well behind their peers and require some form of additional intervention, strategic intervention with smaller groups when needed, and you move throughout the tiers as it supports the students who are in front of us as teachers, or in front of our educators. So again, Tier 1 at the top, the red tier, is where our comprehensive alternative education programs come in. They help to support students who are in that most critical tier. The red tier, which is the one that, I think when I shared it to you, I shared it in reverse, but just take a look at the slide. The red tier means those are the students who need the most intervention and support. And so here you'll see listed SOAR Academy, which is our accelerated academy. This year will be held at Eastside High School, offered at Eastside High School and the Camden High campus in the Brim building as a portion so that we are able to pick up and help students who have fallen behind or who are falling behind in their credits to recover those credits quickly. The idea here is that we want to make sure our graduation rate continues to bounce back from the dip that it had that it experienced during the pandemic, and we want to make sure that our students are getting the instruction that is tailored to what they need. With regard to Gateway, we will still partner with the Gateway to College program to support students who are benefiting from that modality. Bridge to middle school. We found that many of our young people during the pandemic who were in those areas, 4th and 5th grade, they had difficult times transitioning into middle school. So we have some students now who are currently in need of support. And so that will be offered at the Camden High campus as well, and you see it listed there at BPLA. The Twilight program, the transition program, will be offered at the Pride building, and also we will be building out a behavioral disabilities program for the upcoming school year following this one, to focus on how we can address the needs of our behavioral disability students. That doesn't mean they're not going to get the support this year, but we're going to revamp the way we support them. At the end of the day, I didn't want to be take too long with this or be too windy in the discussion. At the end of the day, the high-level takeaway here is that we know that coming out of the pandemic, we've got to do something differently to make sure that we keep our students on track. We don't want to lose any more students, so we have to change what we do. Because our students, they're not going to change what they do, they're just going to walk out, drop out, and leave. So these are ways that we can begin to capture and customize programs for our students in an alternative way, not meaning negative, alternative, just an alternative, a different way to make sure we're hitting and making sure we're meeting them at the point of their needs. So we will continue to provide more information on this to the board as we roll it out for the first time this year. And this is a learning process. We've never recovered from a pandemic before, but we're going to use our resources to help to support these efforts. Next slide. This is just a reminder that the Camden City School District Start Strong test dates will be September 19th through September 30th. These are on our calendars. Again, parents, please mark these down. We want to make sure that we're able to capture the data that's very important in helping us to drive our instructional practices and strategies in very responsive ways to make sure our young people were able to continue to accelerate their learning. And so you will hear more about this from your schools to come, but we just want you to save the date. No problem. Yes, thank you, Dr. Wright. And Dr. Wright, for the benefit of those who are in the audience who may not have met him before, Dr. Wright is actually the Deputy Assistant Commissioner of Education for the Department of Education. And he works and thought partners with me as a state district superintendent to help us to make sure that we are moving forward with setting the district up for sustainable local control. So I want to make sure that I also give acknowledgement and recognition to Christy Witzel. I'm not sure where anyone is sitting tonight. You can just wave your hand. Christy, I'm sorry. To make sure that I'm giving kudos all the way around for the hard work that has been done in each of the areas. And when I acknowledge the curriculum team, I did not acknowledge the leader of the curriculum team, which is our Chief Academic Officer, Ms. Christy Witzel. So thank you so much, Dr. Wright, and thank you for your leadership. Absolutely. All right, and so we're going to continue to keep moving forward with our Start Strong assessment. We'll have information on our website, but it's really important that our young people are ready to take these assessments when they are administered, and that as parents we encourage them to do their very best so that we can get the right data, the accurate results to help us to drive and inform our instructional strategies to support them. Next slide. PSAT. I want to introduce and share this early. October 12th. It may seem like it's far out, but it's not. It'll be here before you know it. So the Camden City School District will be offering the PSAT on October 12th, 2022. That will be students in grades 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. The PSAT is an assessment that acts as a baseline for college readiness that allows our district to check in on our student academic progress. The test will be administered on Wednesday, October 12th, as I said before, 2022. I keep saying that because we need our young people there and ready. We want to make sure that they are able to take this test. And there's lots of information about the PSAT that we can provide on our district website, but I want to make sure that our parents know that this is a very, very important test, and we are going to support our students as they are preparing for this test. So again, our 9th graders will be taking the PSAT 8 and 9. The test is broken down into 55 minutes for reading, 30 minutes for writing and language arts, and 60 minutes for math. Our students will see about 42 questions or tasks for reading, 40 for writing and language, and 38 for math. And again, we'll have all of the other grade levels and the breakdown of that testing information posted on our website so that you can see it. Next slide. All right, one of the areas that's been in the news quite a bit, and if you watch the news, you've heard about it quite a bit, has to do with the teacher vacancies, the national teacher shortage crisis that is being experienced again across this nation. And so I want to just provide a brief update for you on behalf of our Chief Talent Officer, Ms. Allison Solomon, whose team is also doing a great job in making sure that we are filling the gaps that have been created by the Great Resignation many people are just leaving industries, not just teaching. And so we know that impacts us in a great way. So they've been working double duty, overtime, to make sure that they are doing some of the things I'm going to talk about in a moment. But just for a teacher vacancy snapshot, the total teacher vacancies by first day of school, we're anticipating that after all of the work that has been done, we will still have about 35 to 40 teacher vacancies. The highest vacancies are in special education, science, and Spanish, and specifically in chemistry. So we are working very, very diligently, wisely, and strategically on the following recruitment and retention strategies. They are listed there for you, but I want to call out one partnership, MOCA, and it is a partnership that we are working on in partnership with Rowan University to support males of color coming into the teaching profession, but also supporting them through the process as they are achieving their credentials and their certification. And we've had a great partnership with MOCA. So again, we are looking at we're not looking. The DTLR team has been partnering with resume mining corporations. They've been working on candidate outreach, hiring incentives. We have provided $10,000 signing bonuses for science, math, bilingual ESL, SPED, and Spanish teachers. We are trying, we're putting it out there, and so we're not going to stop. We're not going to let up. We're going to keep driving because we want to make sure that we have teachers in every one of our classrooms, highly qualified teachers. And so we will continue to keep you updated as we are continuing to close that gap. But in light of the pandemic and some of the things that are happening nationally with teacher shortages, we are moving forward. If we were at zero, I would say we were in a great place. But given the context, I do believe we're in the best place that we can be, and we are continuing to push to get that number down to zero. So stay tuned for more information there on our immediate strategies, how they're doing, and also our long-term strategies that are listed before you. School nutrition. Our Camden School Nutrition team with Whitson's Culinary Group welcomes students and families back to school with fresh and locally sourced foods. All students will have access to free breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner meals. All of our Camden Elementary public schools are now approved for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, receiving $340,945 and will receive locally grown fruits and vegetables as a snack during the week. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you take a look in the back, if you wave your hand, Ms. Arlethea Brown, our Senior Director, thank you for your work and for all that you do each and every day to help to ensure that Camden City School District has a school nutrition program that is second to none. And so we will also continue to partner with Food Corps, bridging the gap between our school nutrition and our school curriculum teams. Stop by our school nutrition table and meet our Whitsons and full future partners. They are in the lobby, and we want to thank you for the work that has been done to date. Next slide. Transportation. This is very critical. I just want to make sure, given what we went through last year, we are in a dramatically different place this year. And so since we're giving kudos, I'm going to keep on giving them tonight. So I want to give kudos to our SBA, Brandon Cox, and the transportation team for doing an exceptional job at taking what, and there's a quote, it doesn't come to mind right now, but Martin Luther King says something about it's not what happens to you, I'm paraphrasing, but how you respond. How you respond. We know last year this time we were in a panic because there were not enough bus drivers. It was, again, a national shortage. We were struggling with this. And we had to come up with creative ways to help get our young people to school, compensating families, et cetera, et cetera. This year, we're excited to announce that for this coming school year, we have secured transportation for every eligible student. That's about 4,000 across the city. 4,000 across the city, charter, Renaissance, and traditional district schools. On the first day of school, all students will have the transportation services that they require. A few important things to note, however. All current eligible students will have a seat on the bus, as I said, the first day of school. This means that if you have already enrolled and registered for a district school, you are eligible for transportation, you have it. However, if you are not currently enrolled or registered at one of our district schools, but show up on the first day of school, you will not have transportation if you are indeed eligible. You will receive it, but you won't have it on the first day. So please, 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 register now. Come on in. We're ready to, and wherever you're choosing to register, we just need to make sure as a district we are in a position to provide transportation throughout the city. We encourage everyone to enroll and register before the first day. Also, the district has hired 12 bus drivers and 4 bus driver trainees. I'm highlighting this because we are building a bench of staff members for this very important work. And individuals, again, as I said, who are trainees, who will be able to help us drive our buses. I don't have the percentages right now of how many of those are Camden residents, but I can tell you that a great many of those individuals we've hired are Camden residents. Bus passes for mileage routes have been mailed out and should be received in eligible homes in the next week or so. And finally, students on door-to-door routes will be contacted by the transportation vendor before the first day of school to confirm pickup, time, and addresses. And if I did mention before, we have our own fleet of buses. We have, how many buses? 14 buses, Camden City School District, that we are releasing right now so that we have flexibility. This will help us tremendously with field trips and all of those other areas, but it will help us. And we did it at a $2 million cost savings. Oh, I'm getting good at that. $2 million cost savings. So we are actually in a better position, and we are paying less because we haven't contracted those services all out. Next slide. So in an attempt to dispose of vacant district property in the city, the district is advertising a request for bids for the identified properties that are listed on Wednesday, August 24th. The request for bid will be open for 5 weeks until September 28th. All entities interested in submitting a proposal should reach out to our procurement office for additional information. This information is on the website. You can see listed there the facilities. These are our older, vacant, abandoned facilities. Challenge Square, the Environmental Center, Broadway, Fetters, Old Caddo, Old Dudley, South Camden Alternative, and 2 vacant lots. So again, sharing that information for public consumption. And the next few slides are just some of our district highlights. We want to highlight our summer academic programs. As you can see, I just wanted to show lots of smiling faces because there was so much joy and so much positive energy, but so much learning that occurred during our summer programs. And as you can see, not only did our students enjoy themselves, but our staff members had a great time too, as we were again using those funds to focus on learning acceleration. Next slide. Want to just shout out again the district. We as a district are making great strides with our green team and being environmentally conscious and friendly. We are meeting and planning, building a healthy environment, using green products, sourcing locally grown food and products, building and sustaining food, school gardens, recycling, and not limited to reducing carbon footprints. I am happy this evening to share that the Camden City School District, including all open and active schools, received the 2022 New Jersey Bronze Certification for Sustainable Jersey for Schools. We want to thank our Camden Green and Operations teams. We will continue our efforts with the hope of gaining the next level of certifications as we continue to grow and expand our green initiatives. Next slide. Camden Strong Cleaning Day. What a great day to be Camden Strong. This is just showing some of the pictures and faces of, I believe, some of our cheerleaders and our swag workers who joined our mayor cleaning up the city. Senior Director Perry is there. Again, teaching our young people that it is important for them too to take a part in keeping their cities, keeping their city clean and beautiful. So again, we are so grateful for the partnership with the city there. Next slide. Check out our SWAG students, students working to achieve greatness. They helped out at the Wholesome Riches food drive over at Dudley School. So again, we are instilling in our young people that service matters and that their service matters, and they have so much to offer. Next slide. On the scholar athlete side of the house, we want to take this opportunity to congratulate Camden's very own DJ Wagner, who helped win USA Gold. Camden's Wagner helps USA under 17 national team win World Cup boys basketball title. And that is something very important, and that's national recognition again for our scholar athlete who we are so very proud of, Mr. Wagner. So we are very proud of him and the accomplishments that have been achieved, as well as all of our scholar athletes for their wonderful contributions. Next slide, we will round out with a highlight on our Camden City School District enrollment extravaganza. We had 4 enrollment extravaganza activities at various locations throughout the district. And as you can see, this is just a sampling of some of the wonderful fun activities that we have. We have even had the Sixers, the 76ers Youth Foundation Drum Corps come over. We had food, fun, activities, vendors, everyone coming together to help us. And I am so appreciative of everyone who supported our efforts, and it's not over. We're going to continue to ensure that we are reaching out in ways that are relevant to the community to help them to know that we are here and that we want our students to enroll in our schools. And so again, thank you for your support. I'm going to shout out now Anna May, who is leading our enrollment work. Where's Anna May? You know, when I get, there she is. All right, leading our enrollment work and all of the teams that work together. The SEND teams in each of our schools, our school leaders, our guidance counselors, everyone who just worked together. Nutrition, just to make sure that those days were monumental, because they were the beginning of our shift to make sure that we are doing everything possible to shout out the great work of our Camden City School District. So again, we will continue to keep you posted, and we're looking forward to sharing how we're meeting our targets and benchmarks. And this is just a reminder, the next slide, that the Superintendent's Board presentation will be posted on our website, just in case you missed any of the valuable information that was shared. And our next board meeting will be held September 27th, right here at the Camden High campus. Thank you for your attention, and we'll transition now back to the stage, where I don't believe we have any retirees to acknowledge this month. But we will continue with the rest of the meeting. Thank you. Strategies in place. So again, let's acknowledge the work of our General Counsel. Thank you.
The Camden City School District welcomes the attendance and comments from all members of the public at its meetings. This public comment period is your time to be heard on the agenda items in this meeting. This is not a time to engage in a dialogue with the board, but it is your time to present your comments to the board and superintendent. Each person who signed up to comment will have 3 minutes. You'll be notified when your 3 minutes are up. You cannot yield your time to another person. When it is your turn to speak, please remain at the podium and address all of your comments to the General Counsel or the Superintendent. Please be courteous to your fellow community members and keep your comments within the time frame allotted so that everyone has the opportunity to speak. At the end of the 3 minutes, the microphone will be cut off and we will end your comment time. Please conduct yourself in a respectful and courteous manner. The First Amendment is not absolute, meaning that the board can prohibit language that is inappropriate. So for anyone whose comments or actions either harass, intimidate, or threaten the safety of any person, we will provide you with a warning or immediately end your comment time. In addition, if you curse, use vulgar language, or make personal attacks, we will provide you with a warning or end your comment time. We will not interrupt you during your 3 minutes of comments unless we deem it necessary. If a member of the public speaks about a staff member, interruption may be necessary to caution him or her of the danger of slander. Members of the audience should also not interrupt the speaker at the podium. If you have any questions, please ask your questions during your 3-minute comment period. After the public comment period is closed, the superintendent or her designee will address your questions to the extent provided by law. I will begin by calling the names of individuals wishing to provide in-person comments before we move on to reading the written comments. And as a quick reminder, all public comments read aloud during the meeting are the views of the person submitting public comment and are not the views of the superintendent, the advisory board, or the Camden City School District. Thank you. We have 4 individuals signed up to a read comment. When I call your name, please come up to the podium. Gabby Gonzalez.
Good evening. My name is Gabby Gonzalez. I am the new Community Outreach for Ward 1 with Parents Invincible. I'm beyond excited to help our community, parents, and children secure a successful academic year this 2022 and 2023 school year and many years to come. I look forward to using my native language, which is Spanish, and my secondary language that I've been blessed to learn, which is English, to serve and advocate for the amazing community that serves as a family. I look forward to using my personal life story as well as my education background and career history in the medical field, education, and in the nonprofit world. I have had the pleasure to work with many parents for the many years, and recently had the opportunity to work with M-Schools and a nonprofit organization who helps immigrant and undocumented students and family with to get and achieve higher education. And now I have the pleasure to work with Parents Invincible and combine all my experience to continue to help our parents and students reach their full potential.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sarah Joslin.
Superintendent and board, I want to thank you for an excellent meeting tonight. I congratulate you with the CUSAC. I'm looking forward, of course, to see the district improvement plan when it is available to the public. I also want to congratulate you on the Brown certification. You know that sustainable New Jersey is important to me. I thank you for the policy document. I did want to ask about 6140 in the curriculum adoption. I did not hear any information about the new requirement to include Asian Pacific, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander within the curriculum. And I think it's particularly important to include this within the classroom libraries to make it visible. And I remind you that it's not just China and Japan, but Southeast Asia, South Asia, a much broader group of people, a very diverse group of people that need to be represented so that all children can see themselves, but children can see others in their classroom as well. Thank you for noting about the issue with teacher vacancy. It is a problem everywhere. I was very disappointed to see that there is only one chemistry teacher that is listed for the high schools. That's a huge shortfall because everyone should have that ability. And particularly since we have a requirement for integration of climate science throughout K-12. So the chemistry aspect of climate science is a very important aspect to understand when we talk about carbon footprint, when we talk about reducing global warming. So I really am prayerful that those teacher vacancies will be filled and that the science teachers that are listed will be properly trained to fill in those climate things throughout all of the grades. I did want to say I'm very thankful to see that 7th grade is now the home for fiscal literacy. That's a wonderful place to put it in. And that there's an addition of civics in the 8th grade. I encourage students to engage with the government and nonprofits at all levels. I remind you that our own State Board of Education has open topic in September. So if there's anyone here who wishes to express a topic at the State Board of Education, this is one of the months when you may do so. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jocelyn. Our next speaker is Karen Borelli-Luke.
Good evening. Karen Borelli-Luke, Dr. Charles Brim Medical Arts High School. Since 2004, when I first came to Brim, I have been a part of the enrollment team. It did not matter what system was being used for enrollment. I rolled with the changes. It never changed my pitch or my passion for enrolling students to Brim. Since coming to the new campus, enrollment has been a bit more difficult for many reasons. It was bad enough to get parents and families to buy into this new campus idea and safety, but now let's talk about schedules. The district paid a person a stipend to do schedules for all the high schools, a person who knew nothing about the dynamics of Brim. That very same person told me that the Brim students earn 41 credits a year versus all the other high school students in the district earning 40 credits. And I said they absolutely do, because they work for the extra credit in the class called exposures. He told me that we need to make it fair and equitable. They can no longer earn the 41. It gives them an advantage for GPA and class rank. So the discussion was to take a credit from PE and give it to exposures to bring them down to 40. Can someone please explain to me why are we taking away anything from any of our students to make something equal? We should be researching how the other schools can earn an extra credit point to make them equal to the higher achieving. Next, I was told that our very successful AP classes, where students can earn college credits, were now to be scaled back. Instead of meeting every day, like all the other competitive schools throughout the state and country, we will now meet every other day. Mind you, 5 of the 7 AP courses in the district are in Brim. So now you are asking the AP teacher to take the rigor and content load that is normally instructed daily and half the time. Again, we are doing this to make things equal. Can someone please explain to me why we are taking away anything from any of our students to make something equal? We should be researching how the other schools can earn college credits and get AP courses to make them equal to the higher achieving. Exposures, extra credit, and our AP courses are a few of the things that make Brim unique and selling points for enrollment. That, along with the smaller class sizes, which, by the way, that too has been sabotaged. The scheduler stated that if there are not more than 49 students, he was to schedule only 2 sections. Everyone knows that the 9th graders all come at once. They may not be like 50 at the time the schedules were pushed out or completed. Rather than discuss with the enrollment team, schedules will now be wrong. Brim is past the 50 mark and only 2 sections of 9th grade classes were scheduled. Adding another section will change and impact so many other students, schedules, and teachers. Had he followed the suggestion given to him, this could have been avoided. I may also add there have been hiccups in the scheduling in the gymnasium and for PE classes. Before we came to the new building, I asked for a meeting with the principals. We met, we were given a layout of the land and how it was going to change, but that also was altered and not followed. Brim's 9th and 10th graders never got to use the main gym as promised. Another disappointment and a takeaway from Brim. We live and learn, so I thought.
Thank you, Ms. Borelli-Luke. That was your 3 minutes. final person we have signed up for public comment is Damon Nichols.
A lot of us knew with the name change, it would be a downgrade of a new school name in return. So what ended up happening was worse. A school name was picked that would have been eliminated. Had more Woodrow Wilson people been involved. It was a very selfish, inconsiderate type process. It looks like a couple of y'all went in the back and had a raffle with the school's name. You go from one of the most successful, most accomplished New Jersey governors, representatives in state of New Jersey history, to a school with an out-of-control drug problem in a movie filmed here in New Jersey. Students doing drugs in a movie. Like we don't have an out-of-control drug problem here in Camden. Some students have drug problems with family members at home. They see people laying on the ground, sleep on their feet, walking home from school. So why would y'all attach that imagery to a school? When you change the name of a school, you're doing a service to some and disservice to others. Many people adamant on changing schools' names due to tarnishing of the school's history. So what do y'all do? Attach the tiger mascot to a Patterson, New Jersey high school, like it means something. Reality is the school's history is done. That's a kiss of death once you change the name of the school. The school would have had a 100-year anniversary coming up 2029. Y'all killed that moment with this name change, took that moment away from us. Y'all idea of going forward is going backwards, straight down a flight of stairs backwards. We all have to sit here and watch y'all make a total complete joke and mockery out of the school. Everybody in the surrounding area knows Eastside High school name is a fraud. You should have thrown in Pablo Escobar in the renaming process if you intended to make a joke and a mockery out of the school. With the choices y'all had, his name would have been chosen. When you say Eastside High School, the first thing that's thought of is the movie Lean on Me. Patterson, New Jersey. Eastside Park, Eastside section of Patterson. Eastside High School, the original one in their city. And an imitation high school, which is ours, far away. Eastside High School name reflects nothing at all in Camden. Our students was deprived of a choice to pick from an adequate name that reflects Camden, defines Camden. Y'all know that I'm against the name change, ain't no secret, but it's named like Dudley Grange High School, Dudley Park High School, Kramer Hill High School, Federal Street High School, 32nd Street High School. You could even stroke the name to plain Wilson. It would have been fair to everybody. Now that a reflection don't have, a name that don't sound like Camden High. Y'all failed to deliver on. Now the original Eastside High School ghost, when they throw on the navy blue and orange, it looks like black and orange. Both schools in New Jersey, it's a conflict. It's going to interfere with student recruitment from colleges. You have one school in the way that should not be in the way. So now the traditional, beloved Woodrow Wilson High School have to share a name, image, and identity with another school. Those of us that care, it affects us. It's heartbreaking, I'm at a loss for words.
Mr. Nichols. We have two written submissions this evening. The first written comment is from Josie Ocasio. Good evening, Superintendent and school board members. As the school year approaches, I know the district is working hard to make sure schools are safe with crossing guards, policing, and even transportation. Parents Invincible have been working hard helping families with resources, school supplies, and sharing district important information. Transportation has been the most common thing for myself, and thanks to the Parent Solution Center, answering our questions and resolving concerns helps a lot of our families to transition smoothly without miscommunication. I know there's still a lot to do, and with everyone's help, we can start the school year, we can be successful. Thank you again for your time and efforts. Enjoy the rest of your summer and see you soon. Thank you, Ms. Ocasio. And our final public comment this evening is from Carla Villegas. Good evening, board members. My name is Carla Villegas. I'm the community outreach organizer for Ward 3, East Camden. As the school year begins in September, many parents I have helped throughout the summer have received 2 letters from CCSD. The letters are about the start date and time students will go back to school. Many parents are confused about the start time because the first letter mentions start time 9 a.m. for high schoolers, and the second letter mentions 10 a.m. for only some Wednesdays for high schoolers. Many parents would like to know the exact dates they will go in at 9 a.m. and at 10 a.m. Parents would also like to know why they are going in at those times when last year it was 8:30. If you can also send another letter with the correct times and dates for the start of the school year, as well as explaining to parents the changes for this upcoming year, that will be helpful for parents, either if it's about transportation or anything else that is affecting the times. I would really appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Villegas. And Superintendent, that is the last comment. I will turn it back to you for responses.
Thank you. I'll start with the most recent written comment with regard to the start time for students. Thank you for your question, Ms. Villegas. I want to just provide a little bit of clarity here. The start times for the upcoming school year are as follows. For early childhood, elementary schools, family schools, and Morgan Village Academy, those start times will be 8:40 a.m. and school will end at 3 p.m. So 8:40 a.m. and ending at 3 p.m. and this information is on the website. High schools will begin at 9 a.m. and end at 3:20 p.m. So high schools will begin at 9 and end at 3:20. These start times are different from the last school year because it was important for us to address the dire transportation needs, as we talked about previously, the dire transportation issues we faced last school year. If you recall, over 800 students were without transportation at the beginning of last school year, and we got that number down to 500. And so our priority for this school year was to ensure that all eligible students would receive transportation. In order to execute a strong transportation program, we had to adjust the school start and end times. And so again, I think you alluded to it in your question, but that was in large part, why we had to adjust. And we will send also a welcome back letter to school, to families, so that in the coming days you will be able to have this information spelled out in detail. But again, it is on the district website. If it is not, it will be on the website. But I believe it is already on the front page of the district website. Thank you for this information and for letting us know, because we want to make sure that everyone is clear and aware of the changes in the start and end times. So again, everyone is ready on the first day of school. Next, I will go to Ms. Jocelyn. Thank you. It's welcome back. It's good to see you. It's been quite some time. Thank you. Every time you come, you provide us with information that just continues to help our district get better and better and stronger, especially in the area of our curricular offerings, but not limited to those areas. So I want to publicly thank you and say it is good to have you back. So again, thank you for your recognition of the work the district has been doing, CUSAC areas. We will be making the district improvement plans available, so you will be able to see, as well as the board, all of that information. To address specifically policy 6140, which you mentioned, the Asian American and Pacific Islander mandate, it has in fact been added to all K-12 ELA and social studies curricula. Whatever we need to do to make sure that that's clearly evident and transparent, we will make sure that we do that. But thank you for flagging it so that we can make sure that that is noted. Regarding the vacancies for chemistry, and as I shared and you acknowledged as well, the teacher vacancy shortage issue is one that is very, very stubborn and impacting our entire nation. But regarding the chemistry vacancies, we do have 3 chemistry teachers with an additional 4th teacher who is working on certification in bilingual chemistry. So we're working on supporting those individuals, but to your point, chemistry is very important, so we want to make sure that we share that information. With regard to scheduling and school space concerns, Ms. Borelli-Luke, thank you for sharing your concerns that you shared. We will follow up with you so that that I and the team can hear in more detail your concerns. But I do want to provide this opportunity right now to Dr. Martinez, our Chief Schools Officer, who is working closely on the scheduling pieces, just to yield the floor if she has any information to share that would be helpful at this time. But again, we will provide a response to you in more detail once I can take the notes that you've shared with me, pressure test them to make sure I have all the information necessary. So I'll just kick it over to Dr. Martinez at this time.
Thank you, Superintendent. As you said, we will certainly listen to the concerns and respond accordingly. In addition, the high school division and principals have been designing the schedules reflecting the student course selections that occurred earlier during the spring. This year, we're also...
I'm sorry, Dr. Martinez, if you don't mind just stepping out, the board president has asked so that the community will know and see who's speaking, because the camera doesn't get, I don't think it gets over on that side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So as I was saying, the high school division has been working on the high school schedules that reflect the course selections that students selected earlier in the spring. And this year, the 4 high schools on the campus will be sharing teachers specifically for advanced placement courses and honor courses. We want to maximize our resources and afford more students to take these advanced courses. Additionally, the schedules will afford more students to take other courses of their choice, and the counselors, the school principals, and other staff members are currently reviewing, continue to review high school schedules to make sure that we're meeting the needs of students. So it is a continuous process, so we will certainly listen to the concerns. But what we want to do is to make sure that we have highly qualified teachers, which we do, to provide the services for the courses that our students select. We want to make sure that our schedules are robust and that our students' needs are met. And so we'll continue to work in that endeavor.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. Thank you. And again, we will go back because we want to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed when it comes to scheduling, space concerns. You know who you can go to for that information, but we will proactively work on those as well. Again, all of that comes under the umbrella of equity. We don't want to, we know that that it's not about equal. It's about being equitable and fair and making sure that our young people have the opportunity to be exposed to the many different subject areas, AP courses, etc. So whatever we do, it's in the spirit of trying to promote equity, and we want to make sure that we take the feedback, take it back, because we don't want to undermine any progress that's already been started. So thank you for sharing in detail your concerns, and we will follow up accordingly. And finally, I want to say to Mr. Nichols, thank you for sharing your concerns and sentiments. I'm not sure if he's still in the room right now. Yes, thank you for sharing your concerns and sentiments regarding the name change for the high school from Woodrow Wilson to Eastside High. I won't rehash again why this change was made, because we are all very much familiar, and I know you are as well. But I do want to let you know that I am being held accountable by this board to make sure that we are doing everything possible to build up and uplift Eastside High School with the investments of $49 million that we've started, that are already going into work is already being done there, and many other changes that we're making to prioritize Eastside High, as well as advocating for a brand new one. Please know the name change, we did go through a process where there was a board committee designated, made up of board members of alumni and also of students at Woodrow Wilson, as well as students who had the opportunity to vote on the name change. So again, in the spirit of wanting to work together toward uplifting all of our young people and all of our buildings, and making sure that as they walk into and out of our schools, that the name that's over the banner that's over them is one that is not connected to an individual who had a segregationist background. I just want to make sure that that it's real clear that we try to have the fairest process possible. And I thank you. We can talk offline further. But again, I wanted to acknowledge your comments and thank you for your passion for your alma mater. At this time, I would like to turn the meeting over to the board president to see if there are any comments from board members.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent, and thanks community for your concerns. At this time, are there any members of the board that would like to make a comment? We'll start left to right. I see my grabbing mics.
I'll submit my comments in email, and you can, if you guys can go respond for next meeting. My comments. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Elton Custis.
Just asking when you submit the information to Ms. Karen Lucarelli, that the board also gets that information, because I want to know about the AP classes as well, cutting their time, and the scheduling mix-up that is going on. So when you do that, can we please get that answers to that as well?
Absolutely.
Is that it? Thank you, Board Member Custis. Board Member Hudson.
The board president, I appreciate it. I just wanted to, commend everybody for coming out and, voicing your concerns. I think your input is, very valuable in what we do. And I forget your name, ma'am, I'm sorry. But you mentioned policy 6140. I could say, like, being a part of the policy committee, we have a very good team, and we look at all angles of, diversity and making sure that it's all inclusive of everybody when we're making these, putting these policies together. So I know that in this policy, we did have a provision for ethnicity and race. So maybe that's something we can talk further about, in next committee meeting to see if we can make that more specific. I also just wanted to commend the superintendent and thank the state for joining us here today. I think, especially with the QSAC, I think, the goal is to restore local control to the schools, and the superintendent and the state have been along with the board, have been very committed in that process. 81% for personnel, I think 2 years in a row. I mean, that's amazing compared to what the scores were when the state first took over, took over control. So I just wanted to shout out, you guys. Also, Gabalee, Josie, appreciate you. They've been very involved in the community. I seen Gabalee the other day, and she was just like, hey, I just want to know who I can talk to and connect with to be involved. And, she just came to the board meeting to introduce herself. So, I just commend her for that. Also, I would just like to thank everybody. Me and school board member, advisory board member Alvarez had our back to school event this past last week. And just want to thank everybody that came out and supported the McGuire residents, the McGuire resident board, Miss Ella Baker, all of our partners that came through, everybody, VP Nelson came through, and once again, just, he's everywhere, and he just asked, like, how can I lend a hand to help out? So I really do appreciate that. And just looking forward, to doing that again. We were able to help out a lot of kids with free haircuts, laptops, and backpacks, school supplies, the whole 9 yards. So, I just really would like to thank everybody that was involved in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Hudson. To my right now, anyone? Mr. Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be very brief. I had a question on the resolution number 16, which is the before school program. What time would that program start? And did we put that together? Because they're going to be coming in a little later. It's on page 22. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not discussing that yet, right? It's just your report. It's on the agenda. But as you look for that, I just wanted to take the opportunity to, again, just commend the work that the administration in our district is doing. A lot of other districts are still facing problems when it comes to school bus drivers. we are ahead of the game, so I just wanted to make sure that we commended the work that's being done by our district, making sure that all of our students have transportation.
Thank you for your patience, Board Member Leyva Martinez. I was gathering the documents, it wasn't in front of me. You were referring to resolution number, 16, correct? And your specific question was?
The East Side High, it's a before school program.
Yes.
I just wanted to know what time it was going to be starting.
I can get that information for you. Yeah, I can
Because
get that.
it's going to run all year, so I just wanted to know, is this something that the school's going to be open at 6 a.m. for students to come in early, or?
Yeah, I'm going to find out exactly what time that program starts. Yep, I can find out that information for you.
And finally, just wanted to, again, since we were talking about Eastside High, just wanted to remind the community about the $49 million investment that's going into Eastside High. If you're driving by Eastside High, you're going to see that there's concrete work done and a whole bunch of other rehabilitations that I think empower more our students. I know that we have different opinions on names, but I would take $49 million any day of the week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Board Member Martinez. Board Member Alvarez.
Thank you, Brother Wasim, President Wasim, sorry. I just want to echo Board Member Hudson's sentiments and say thank you to the McGuire residents. We had a successful event. Thank you to VP Nelson for showing his support. And just thank you to everyone who came out tonight.
Thank you much, Board Member Alvarez. Anyone else?
I'm sorry, and also Mayor Carr Starfin came out and showed his support to the event last Friday, so thank you so much. And you know, so many different things going on in the city, so everybody that's playing this small part, you know, for our kids to get them ready to go back to school, thank you.
Thank you much.
Testing, okay. I do have a response for you, Board Member Leyva Martinez. Our Board Secretary, if you don't mind just sharing the information you shared with me.
Absolutely, thank you, Superintendent. Board Member Leyva Martinez, the before school program as well as the after school program at Eastside are part of the school improvement plan that was developed into the Title I grant for SIA funds. So currently the before school program is scheduled to begin around 7 a.m. to 6:30 a.m., between 6:30 and 7. I believe it's 4 days per week at the high school for up to 31 hours for that time. And then that will, of course, be funded through the whole school year to try and get those students who may be kind of falling behind in their classwork and their coursework during the school year to get them caught up in that before school and after school period.
That would be available for those students that fell behind, or how about the students that maybe the parents are concerned that the day is starting a little later and they want them to be in school?
And that's right now it's going to be an identification process that the staff at Eastside will be undertaking to identify those students that should be attending that early school program. And I believe at that point, I mean, there will be an opportunity for additional students to be identified, to be brought in if necessary. And I know, because I know, and I didn't think the superintendent mentioned this earlier, you know, we are looking at other before school programs because of the later start times, as well as other professional development opportunities we're putting into for the school year to address that later start time for those families who may have some difficulty getting their students to school.
Thank you much. Anyone else? Well, that's about it. I just want to close out, and I believe I can speak on behalf of the Advisory Board of Education, our Vice President Nnamdi Nelson, and the board members here. We just want to congratulate Madam Superintendent for renewal of your contract. I think that deserves a well-deserved round of applause.
And at this time, I'll turn it over to our Board Secretary for presentation of the business office agenda items.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, this evening under the Finance and Operations agenda, I present for your consideration items 1 through 38, which includes the bill list for July as well as August, totaling a total amount of $43,642,116.07. At this time, I'll open the floor for any questions.
Are there any questions at this time based on the bill list? And thank you, Board Member Hudson, for for encouraging that we went through a kind of, in service on reading the board list, and we appreciate that. I think his renewal of the mind is always great. Anyone?
Seeing no one, I'll turn the meeting back to the superintendent.
Thank you, Board Secretary. At this time, if there is nothing else, in accordance with the powers vested in the State District Superintendent under Title 18A, I hereby approve today's Superintendent's agenda items and business office agenda items. I turn it back to the Board Secretary for adjournment.
Seeing no other business to be brought before the board this evening, I will now open the floor for a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:12 p.m. We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for coming out to the August meeting of the Advisory Board. Have a wonderful evening and be careful going home.